Hello and welcome to another edition of Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah and I'm blessed to be joined by the one and only. I'm going to leave that blank right now because I'll come back to introduce him. I'll come and introduce my guest after the jangle. So this is the jangle. You know, a lot of Ghanaians are spread all over the world. They're sitting on huge cache of resources, be it educational resources, financial resources, other resources. In fact, I'm told there's a Ghanaian who has actually managed a space shuttle mission before. You have Dr. Thomas, who's a fiber optics guy. A lot of Ghanaians are out there working. In fact, the two doctors who performed the first successful open heart surgery in St. Croix were Ghanaians. They want to come home, but they're always saying the same thing. Oh, I'm not ready. It's risky. I've seen people lose money and then come back to America. I've seen people come and invest, lose money, come back to UK. So until everything is perfect, I'm not going to take the plunge. Well, let me remind you, when you got on the plane to go abroad, you had also heard of someone who went and got repatriated back home. You saw many of those instances. That did not stop you from going. In fact, I submit to you that that was more of a chance, more of a risk, because you were going to a place where you didn't know, your mom and dad weren't there for most of us, and you pretty much didn't know what to expect. But you took the chance anyway. Why is it that when it comes time to come back home, at a time when you have more money, you're more experienced, you're coming to a place where you are familiar with, you think it's too risky, so you're not going to come? Lady, gentlemen, please take the plunge because Ghana needs you. I've had people sit on this seat and tell me that I'm doing great things, but at some point I woke up in the morning and I say, you know what? America doesn't need me anymore. Australia doesn't need me anymore. UK doesn't need me anymore. Ghana needs me. And so I'm going to pack my bag and come home. Some of them succeed, some of them not so much. But you know what? That's what makes life exciting. So I'm submitting to you right now. I'm urging you. Ghana needs you, and you need to take the plunge and come home to help build Mother Ghana. This has been The Jangle.
Are you expecting money from your relations abroad? Have you ever been defrauded of your money remittance? Open an ADB account today. Send your name and your account number to your relations abroad. Ask them to use MoneyGram direct to account service and receive your money in your account in minutes. With MoneyGram direct to account service, there's no PIN code wahala. You can now access your money on all ATMs in Ghana or send it to any mobile money wallet using ADB mobile banking app or shortcode *767#. Visit our branches nationwide to conveniently receive your Western Union, MoneyGram, RIA, Unitylink, Transfast, and Express Money Transfers. Reach us on our Facebook, website, or call our hotline on 0302 210 210 for more information. ADB, truly agri and more.
Hello and welcome back. This is Diaspora Weekly, and we are delighted to be joined in the studio by none other than Kwabena Manu, Mr. Kwabena Manu, aka Pancho. In fact, the whole world. I haven't heard anybody called Pancho except you. Where did that come from? Where did that?
I think before I answer you, I've heard some people also Pancho, Poncho. They say it in different ways. My junior brother who came to Prempeh College when I was in Form 5 is also called Pancho, but they've kind of altered it. They call him Pancho, P-O-N. Pancho came from a show I think it was in the 60s somewhere.
Okay.
There was this Cisco Kid.
Yeah.
It was a TV show.
Right.
And the characters were Cisco and Pancho.
I remember that. I can't say that I remember their characters, but for them to name you after one of the characters, so Cisco must have been the good boy.
That's true. That's very true. That is very true.
Okay,
that is very true.
So that's where Pancho comes from.
Yes, yes.
And I've had some, interesting. I'm having more Prempeh folks here than Owas folks. I wonder why that is the case.
I really don't know. Maybe Prempeh College. We just celebrated our 70th anniversary.
Okay.
So maybe Prempeh has just been in the limelight the last couple of months.
What do you have to say to Owas boys right now?
I'll pass on that.
Why? Pancho is passing on that?
I'll pass on that. You see, in school, we used to call them Santasi Cowboys.
Oh.
And they call us Sofoline, whatever, and also Mpreko because of Prempeh College.
Okay.
So they called us Mpreko. But you know what? Outside of competitions in sports and other things, Owas folks have always been friends. I have personal friends in the Owas fraternity.
That's not a good. That's the good story. I want the batch. I want the type that will start a fight. I mean, Prempeh, because you see, I went to TechSec, and all we hear at Kumasi Sports Stadium was Owas Prempeh. And then you could come in here on my show to play nice. Come on, Pancho, come on, don't disappoint me.
There's been some battles. There has been some battles in sports, athletics at the Kumasi Sports Stadium in Tako and all that. It was very, very competitive.
Yeah. But don't forget who were the big boys, though. TechSec was a day school, but we used to kick y'all's behind. As for that one.
Which year was that, Jermaine?
I mean, I went to 72 and 77. And I can tell you that during our time, soccer, we killed it. Because Afrani was our coach, who became the coach for Kotoko and Black Stars. You
might have killed us, but you were not the champions, though. The champions were Kumasi High School during those days.
Yeah, we used to go to finals with them a lot.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
And then volleyball, we used to play with you guys. In fact, the tournament was held on your campus. We used to come there and discipline you guys. So anyway,
we were not good in volley, but we were good in other things.
Mostly.
Not all of us were Dadaba, so.
So you're not a Dadaba.
You know what? I'll say a blend. A blend of it.
Very good. Very good. So Prempeh. And is that where you went to sixth form also?
No.
Where did you go?
When I graduated from Prempeh College, there was this Comso era. So I landed this thing with a school in New York.
New York. Okay.
And,
we all did the Comso, but not all of us got lucky.
Yeah.
So you were the lucky one. So you didn't get to go to sixth form. But what was it about Comso? I know what was it about me, but there was something that era. There was something about America that. Just say, if you don't go, you're not one of them. Have you noticed that there was a bit of a trend at that time? And correct me if I'm wrong, because this is what I saw. Most of the true database, they used to, every holiday, you say they would go to London and come back, right? But we, the Jabas, we were more like struggle on our own to go to United States. So you could say that the database at that era ended up more in London, whereas the rest of us ended up in United States. Was that a true reflection, or did you see that? Or?
Yeah, I can say so. I can agree with you, because I think it was cheap to go to London.
Yeah.
And those people whose parents could afford it, they went to London for vacations.
And came back.
But some of us, when we left school, I'll go back. I made sure that I had my passes in my sixth form, so that if life failed me, at least I will be able to go to the military academy and come out and be a second lieutenant.
Okay.
So I had my A-level passes. I did some at Workers College, and that was it.
Okay.
So with the Prempeh, the Comso and going to the United States, people wanted to further their education.
Right.
And I think not too many schools in London were giving scholarships at that time. That's my guess. So people just opted to apply to schools in the United States because we had seen some of them apply and gotten scholarships. So everybody wanted to do that.
And also a bit of a clarification. Whereas in UK, our schoolmates used to go for vacation and come back, you rarely saw people go to America for vacation and come back. If somebody went to for United States, he was gone and not coming back anytime soon.
I know during our era there was this AFS stuff.
Yeah, the student exchange thing.
Yes,
That
they'll
was the
go
only way.
for just 1 year,
Yes.
stay there in school, and then come back.
Yeah.
But when everyone finished school, we made sure that once you applied to a school and you got there, you were going there for your education to further it.
Very good. So that's how you end up in United States.
Yes.
And in New York, what school was that?
Mercy College.
Mercy College.
Yes.
Wow. So you landed in New York. What time? What year do you remember?
1980.
1980.
Wow.
Wow.
I think end of July, first week in August of 1980. And then when I got there, it was a rude awakening. As soon as I got to the airport, and I called, at that time it was the payphone. We used to put some coins in there. I had some American coins that I had changed with my dollars. And so when I called the operator and asked them for the directions to Mercy College, which was in Dobbs Ferry, upstate a little bit from the metropolitan New York. So after I finished speaking to the operator, she told me, I thanked her and she said, "You are welcome." When she said, you are welcome, I said, geez, America is a great country. How the hell did she know I just landed in the United States? Because you know what? Back then, back in the day, when someone said thank you, or you said don't mention, it's my pleasure.
Right.
But today with the internet, you know, the languages and the slangs have blended. Everybody uses you are welcome and stuff.
So that's your story.
Oh, listen.
Everybody's got
I have a story. I have a story.
That cannot be the only story.
There's so many of them.
Give me one more.
so
'Cause,
many.
you know, I love those American stories, the rude awakening stories.
My first year, sitting in an English class, we had the professor was having the students read a couple of passages from our textbook. And anytime these students will read, they'll say, we were doing comma splices, and they'll say, oh, so and so, full stop. You know, the fat cow jumped over whatever, full stop, colon. And then they'll say period. I sat in the classroom for a couple of weeks, Jermaine. I sat there for a couple of weeks and I was sweating. Sweating.
Why?
I said, they are reading something and I cannot find it in the text. They are reading something and I cannot find it in the text. Please don't choke.
So
just take some water.
Wait, so you were looking you were looking to see the actual word period.
Period. I couldn't find it. It wasn't there. So then I summoned the courage and I raised up my hand. And then the professor, he was called Professor Mandelbaum. He was Jewish. He said, yes, can I? Mandelbaum. B-A-U, Baum. Like,
Okay,
yeah.
Baum, okay.
Yeah. He said, can I help you? And I said, sir, they are reading and they keep on saying period, but I can't find the word period in the textbook. I didn't want to get lost. I wanted to stay on top of everything because here you've entered the university. You want to make sure that you are doing right and following everything.
You know,
you are at par.
I've heard some good ones. I think this one really takes the cake, period.
So let me finish the story. When I said it, he said, where are you from? And I said, I am from Ghana. And he said, oh, you were educated with the Queen's English. Period means full stop.
And then you go,
You know, I really, I breathed a sigh of relief.
wow.
And that's
a good one.
Yes.
That's a good one. I think I'll cite it. But anyway, I mean, so New York, what was, I mean, you've told us some of your early school days, but what about getting acclimated to accustomed to the new society, getting used to Americans, you know, their mannerisms and all? What was it like?
I think with everything, you just have to learn things with time. By the time you get to you get used to some of these things that were going on. I walk through the hallway. Sometimes they will say, "What's up?" I'll look up the ceiling.
Oh,
yes.
goodness.
So it was just a matter of time.
Yeah.
It was a matter of time. I had to learn to try to spell the American way with the word labor in Ghana with the O-U-R.
Right.
America is B-O-R. There's no U. And then the pronunciations, you have to say photograph. There you say photograph.
Yeah.
So it took a while, but we got assimilated into the system.
Very good. Very good. So we're having a discussion with Kwabena Manu, Mr. the one and only Pancho in the whole world. Look, you search the whole world, you will not find any besides the one they named you after, in the Cisco and Pancho. We're gonna go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll take Mr. Pancho through life as a profession back in the States. This is Diaspora Weekly. Stay tuned.
Hello, my name is Kofi Opon Ochre, and I bring you NASA on DNT, a program designed to expose corruption and indiscipline in our society and advocate for the punishment of these offenders whose activities impede national development. The National Road Safety Commission indicates that Ghana loses $230 million to road accident, with over 1,600 deaths recorded every year. In 2018, Shraj report indicated that Ghana loses 13.5 billion Ghana cedis to corruption. And United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF has also stated that Ghana loses $290 million to poor sanitation alone. This is not right. So make a date with me, and together let's name and shame the offenders of the law. NASA, see something, say something.
Welcome back to Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah. You're watching Diaspora Network Television, and I'm joined by my old friend. We've been at this for a long time, Pancho.
True.
It's been a while.
Yes.
Pancho is discussing with us his early life in United States, specifically in New York. So let's take it from there. Pancho, New York. Did you ever go to any other city?
Never lived in any other city, but I have visited a lot of cities, a lot of states. Yes.
So what? Okay, many people. There's something about New York that when you're there, it's like you never want to go to anywhere. Did you get that feeling? I mean, when you go to other cities,
or other
feel like,
states?
oh wow, maybe I need to move over here? Did
It,
ever occur
it
to you?
never dawned on me.
Really?
Never. I enjoyed visiting other states, other cities, but New York was just home to me. It had
Really?
become a part of me.
That's a unique thing about, because like me, Houston, I tell people you can't pay me to live in New York City. and I mean that with every sincerity. And I'm sure you can also say the same about they can't pay you to live in those other cities. So what was it about? What did you like about there? Because for me, I guess Houston agreed with me. Was that the same with you in Houston?
I can say so. New York was a melting pot.
Okay.
So many diversities in culture, people coming from different countries. I know that Houston might have been the same, but just the life there, I think, was just kind of different from other states. New York, it was fast-paced. People say if you survive in New York, you will survive anywhere.
Yeah.
So New York was good. The Bronx, I never lived in the Bronx, but I hanged out in the Bronx. I hanged out in Brooklyn, but I'll come back to Westchester County.
Westchester County.
And just...
that sounds like... That's
where I rested the bones.
The name alone sounds very affluent.
It was affluent.
Really?
There are some bad areas to that, but
Westchester.
I try not to hang out there. That's all.
Hang out there. So you were in the 80s. It got really bad in New York. Until this guy came in, until Giuliani came in. I think what was the mayor?
Before Giuliani? I think it was Mayor Koch.
Mayor Koch?
Yes,
right?
yes, Koch, yes.
Koch, okay.
And then after Giuliani was Dinkins, the first black mayor.
The first black mayor, okay.
Yes.
And so, So Koch, because they credit Giuliani a lot with cleaning up New York. So does that mean Koch was not all that effective as mayor? Because from what I understand, when Giuliani came in, New York was pretty rough.
It was rough, but the roughness stems from high crimes.
Okay.
It wasn't just because of people smoking crack and smoking weed, marijuana. Giuliani came and he attacked the mob, the mafia.
Okay.
So he was able to do a good job with that.
Okay.
I can credit him with that. Yes.
So the mafia was pretty, because when we watched movies, almost any movie that was set in New York, you can bet there was the mafia, the Italians.
Yes.
How you lived in that in that era?
Oh yes, there were shootings of when you spoke against the mafia, or they felt that you stepped on their toes, they'll just do you in. They'll kill you, and it was happening a lot in Brooklyn and Queens. But then other places like the Bronx and stuff, you see regular murder, stabbings, robbery.
Okay.
That's just a New York story.
Okay. So New York in the 80s and now, what clear difference, besides obviously technological improvements and everything, in terms of the identity of the city, what do you see?
I think it has gotten better because crime is not as high as it used to be.
Okay.
Yeah, the 80s, and now with technology, when someone kills somebody with DNA, they can go back and trace and catch the person.
Remember the 5 kids that were wrongfully jailed that Donald Trump said they should kill them, and even when the facts came out to exonerate them, he still. Were you there at the time?
Yes, with Donald Trump, maybe the less we talk about him, the better.
Of course.
Yes. He's different. He's a different breed.
Kwabena is not going to like that, but we're not going to talk about it. So let's talk about what you studied in school. Mercy College. I never heard of Mercy College.
It was run by some nuns. It was a Catholic school.
Okay.
But then it opened up to anyone. You didn't have to be Catholic to go to that school.
Okay.
So while I was there, I majored in political science.
Okay.
My minor was journalism.
Okay.
So when I graduated, I did some work for the journal news, proofreading for them.
Okay.
But while I was in school, I was also a featured writer for our school newspaper.
Okay.
If I remember the name correctly, the Reporter's Impact.
Okay.
So I was a regular
Okay.
on that. And so when I finished Mercy College, I worked for a while as a social case worker. And while I worked as a social case worker for Westchester County government, a position came up. They wanted a union representative to represent the members at disciplinary hearings.
Okay.
I applied for it and I got the job. I started working for the county in 1990 as a social worker. And then when I became a union rep, it was in 1997.
Okay.
And then after being a union rep, I became 4th vice president, 3rd vice president, 2nd vice president, 1st vice president. And in 2013, the members urged me to run because they felt that I could represent them better.
Okay.
So I ran and they voted for me and I became the president of that unit.
Oh.
Westchester County Unit 9200.
Okay.
And CSEA is the largest union in the whole of New York.
Okay.
So I became the president of that.
Yes, because I remember any time when we're doing things on our platforms, I always see union president. I didn't understand what it was.
Yeah.
Now, I read a report that said that 16%, and this is of all tertiary graduates, people who go to get their first degree, only 16% get to work in the field of study. And I noticed you said you did political science and you minored in journalism. And you started out writing for a newspaper and everything, but then you flipped. Was that your first wish would it have been your wish to continue in journalism, or that was just something.
No, when I left Ghana, my aim was just to come to go to the United States, graduate, and come back to Ghana to have a job.
Okay.
But then, you know, in the early 80s with the PNDC, AFRC stuff, I wasn't comfortable coming to Ghana. You know my makeup.
Yeah.
If I had come to Ghana, I would have died.
See, oh, you did. You saw the first Rollins, but not the second Rollins.
No, not the second Rollins. Yes. I was in Ghana when the generals were executed.
Okay.
And I left Ghana and then went to the States, and I didn't want to come back because of there wasn't any freedom.
No, you would have been history by now, because at that time, I mean, I left. You know, you and I have a lot in common. When the second time he came, and I knew that this is not the place for me. But so back to your degree and what you ended up working. Were you comfortable in the eventual place you ended up working, or you've always wished that?
As a social worker, I just did that to earn a living. That was my first job, a first salary job. Okay. Full benefits, and it was good. Okay. I will tell you that when I graduated in 1984, from 84 to 89, I did odd jobs. I worked as a bus driver. I worked as a group
bus driver in New York.
Oh yes, I worked as a school bus driver. I know those yellow bus drivers, the length of close to a VIP bus. So I drove that for 5 years. Wow. And then I went to the post office one time, and I saw on the bulletin board that they were looking for social case workers for the Westchester County government. So and the minimum qualification was just a bachelor's. You didn't need any experience. So I took the civil service test. Lo and behold, I passed. And I landed myself that job.
How did you deal with the kids, busting them? Were these high school kids or middle schoolers? Or?
It was from first grade to the 12th grade. It was hell.
Wow. An American kid driving them to and from school.
To and from school.
With your level of...
Yes. What do you have to do? My mom and dad were not there. I had to survive. Wow. Yes, I had to survive. Yes.
So now a caseworker, and you become president of the union.
Yes.
At what point you learned, you did political science. All of a sudden we start seeing you in NPP stuff. So the politics was in there all along.
Like some people say that I was born into the UP tradition.
Okay.
You know, my father was a UP. I remember growing up that we had to live in the Ivory Coast for a while. He had went to exile. Okay. With Boachie Jakon's father, Mr. Jakon. We all lived in Abidjan. Oh, really? So I know Boachie Jakon and his late brother, Kwabena, very well.
Really?
I know their mother.
What era was that?
Like 1965, 66.
Really?
Just prior to.
Okay.
So my father eventually, I know Boachie Jakon's mother, she taught me in class 1 at Methodist School in Kumasi. Okay. Then my father was arrested. He was a UP guy, and they had charged him for being a part of the gang that was trying to overthrow Nkrumah with the Kulungugu bomb. I know. So who knows whether that was true or not. He never talked to us about that.
Let me guess. They mentioned his name during the 1 p.m. news. Do you remember that time?
Yes.
All the, our fathers, 1 p.m. news, the radio will be in their ear like
Akasanoma
they mention your name.
Akasanoma radio.
Yes. You see, this is, people don't know this. At that time, 1 p.m. news was the time that they mentioned the names of people who needed to report at the police station or else. And so, and that was the Young Pioneers era.
Yes.
And so you could be in your house discussing the government. When you say, oh, the government is so and so, your own son or your own, Young Pioneers was mostly boys, right?
Yes.
Your own son could report you to the authorities, and your name will be mentioned at 1 for you to, and when your name was mentioned, you went there. That's when they had detention without trial.
Yes.
I remember a lot of people just, when they heard their name, they packed their bag and ran. Was that how you guys got to?
No, because my father was really very, very involved with the UP.
Okay.
So I guess maybe they were trying and having talks about how trying to topple Nkrumah's government.
Okay.
So he was in the Ivory Coast.
Okay.
We stayed there. He will come to Ghana every now and then. He will stay in northern Ghana, Nandom and Tumu area.
And left you guys back in Ivory Coast?
Ivory Coast,
Okay.
yes.
So when did you eventually come back to
Ghana?
Ghana.
When he was arrested, because he was in the Ivory Coast coming to Ghana, and he was on a plane, and the plane was directed to land in Ghana. It was forced to land at Kotoka Airport.
Wow.
So at that time it wasn't Kotoka, because Kotoka became Kotoka after the 1966 coup.
Right.
So he landed at the airport. He was disguised, and somebody went into the aircraft and they brought him out.
Wow.
So that's when we came back to Ghana, and I went to Nandom to attend school there.
Okay.
The primary school, yes. And
Up
in
in
'66 we heard, I was young, but my uncle came and told me that there's been a coup and your father has been released. He was sentenced to death.
Wow.
Yes, he was sentenced to death during Nkrumah's era.
Wow.
Yes.
So had it not been the coup, you would be an orphan by now.
Yes, because my mother is gone, so my father would have went earlier.
Earlier.
But Nkrumah didn't really execute people, but he let you die slowly in the jails. I mean, it happened to J.B. Danko and the rest of them. So.
Wow.
So
Okay, so that's a bit of history. That do you think we've told this history enough? I mean, Ghana, I don't think we do a good job teaching our kids about history of this country.
Well, for my family, I do tell them about it. My brothers and my sisters, we talk about it. They know what happened.
Okay.
And I guess sometimes some people, political affiliations will not allow people to understand where you are coming from.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to go back to the life in New York.
Okay.
Driving, and then you got this job. You finally became the president of your union. At some point, you went into active politics in the United States. And we'll come back to talk about this. This is Diaspora Weekly. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Lock up Hello Entertainment Box.
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 Welcome back. This is Diaspora Weekly, and we're joined by Mr. Kwabena Manu. You didn't get a doctorate, right? Because I want to make sure you're not a doctor. And
Oh no, not at all. Haven't gotten to that level yet.
Yet. Okay, so it's in the cards.
We don't know. Anything
right,
is possible. Yes.
So you got, you start making money, like you said, the pay was good, the benefits was good. At some point, you start to look back home. Because originally, your plan was to go to college, get a degree, and then come back home. But because of the PNDC era, you stayed.
Yes.
At what point do you start saying that maybe this is a good time to come home?
Right after the ban on party political activities were lifted in '92, I started thinking about it.
Yeah. The ban was lifted in '89. But the election
was in '92.
'92, yes.
Okay. So when that happened, I realized that we've gone back to the multi-party system, democratic rule, or democratic system.
Okay.
So I started thinking about coming to Ghana, but I had not really set a date yet.
Okay.
So I think I was in Ghana one time in 1997, and I had a conversation with my dad that I would like to contest the Nsuta Kwabena constituency.
Oh wow!
seat.
So you've been at this for a while.
Oh yes, I told him, and he said I should wait because he had paved the way for Osei Prempeh. So after Osei Prempeh does his term for a couple of years, then I can get in. My father died in 98.
Oh, sorry.
So, yes, I didn't want to wait because he was gone.
Yeah, yeah. So he was the one. But what did he mean when he said pave the way? Did he ever run for MP?
My father ran for MP. He also went through the primary system in 1969, Buzier's time. At that time, it was the Mampong South constituency, which included Jamasi and all that. And he won, and he became a deputy minister in the Buzier regime. He was the deputy minister for transport and communications.
Okay.
Yes.
So you see how we've come all the way back down to you being a dadaba. How can the son of a deputy minister not be a dadaba?
My father was a disciplinarian, or some of the best, they don't even touch their kids. I've gone through so many.
Much.
Yes, I've gone through that.
So life in United States, MPP, USA. Tell us about it, ROPA and all those things. Because I realized that's how we actually met, right? You'd like to tell us about it. How did that manifest into eventually deciding that you want to come back?
After the ban was lifted in 92, parties started forming. So in New York, we formed the NPP New York.
Right.
In 92, it was the MPP North America.
Yeah.
We didn't even have chapters at that time. So it was MPP North America. Boachie Jakon at one time was the leader.
Okay.
So, we were all members.
Okay.
And then as time went on, Dan Boche came to New York and said we could form chapters. So then the New York chapter was formed.
Okay.
And as time went on or went by, the Houston and the rest of them were all formed. And I know you were very, 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 very strong and heavy in the Houston chapter.
I will.
You want to pass on that, right?
We've done some battles, and those were the days.
Yes. It's sad though that some of the guys who really fought couldn't see the light of the day, or they're not even part of the system now. Nana Mua Japan, he was very, very strong.
Yes.
He's
How
aged.
is he now?
He had a stroke. He's back in New York and he's recuperating very
Oh my
well.
goodness, he's a soldier.
Yes.
He's a soldier. When you speak to him, tell him we so much appreciate him. When you say someone is an icon, I think a soldier doesn't do much justice. He's an icon.
Yes.
And we really appreciate him.
All the MPP meetings were held in his office in the Bronx.
Okay.
So.
All right. So now, during the Rawlings era, 92 to 2000, from what I hear, that's, by the way, let me clarify that. Rawlings was at the helm since 81 until 89 when they lifted the ban on party politics. And so it took 3 years to put things in place, writing the Constitution and all those things. And then Flight Lieutenant Rawlings put down his military uniform and ran as a president and won as a popularly elected president in 1992. Then he won re-election in 96. Now we have to put a bit of an asterisk next to those won, but hey, who's looking, right? Now, 2000, there was an election and Kufuor came to power. And guess what? That was the first time, and I remember this. Let me tell you what I remember. It's watching CNN. Here's a military guy who had stayed in power from 1981, ran as 92 and then won 96. He obviously wanted his vice to win in the 2000 election. The world media came to Ghana. They were expecting war. They were expecting fight because you can tell from their reporting there's no way this guy is going to hand over power to a different party. And then the transition was so smooth. The CNN and co, and I can say that because I watched it. These guys in their reporting, you can tell they were disappointed that what they came to report, the blood and all that didn't happen. They just packed their bag and went. And so with that as a backdrop, how do you see how we as a nation have handled our Fourth Republic, going from 92 all the way up until now, 27 years and counting?
I think we have handled it very well. People have become politically matured, even though in the radio stations and the TV you see people fighting and screaming. The Ghanaian population or the Ghanaian citizenry has, have matured.
Yeah.
And therefore, personally, I don't think there will ever be a coup in our lifetime.
Okay. Some people tried a few months ago.
Did they succeed? There will be a coup, but it will never be
Okay.
successful. I should say there will never be a successful coup. Yes. There's so many radio stations.
Yeah.
When Rollins came, it was just GBC.
Yeah. When
If
you captured
Odate,
GBC, that was it.
if Odate Wellington had other radio stations to go to or TV stations to go to, I think the result would have been different.
In fact, if you're doing a coup now, you have to capture DNT.
It's probably impossible.
That's not going to happen because you have a million of them.
Yes.
Right. And so now what time did you actually return to Ghana? Because I heard you say that you became president in 2013 back in New York.
Yes.
So what time did you actually land back in Ghana?
Oh,
On a
I
full-time
came
basis?
to Ghana on a full-time basis right after the elections.
Which one?
2016 elections.
2016,
Yes,
okay.
and I also came for the inauguration.
Okay.
And I wanted to see it, so
Okay.
I came, and we had done some work at K2 South,
Okay.
financially
right.
and physically.
Yes. MPP New York, you guys adopted
K2 South,
How
yes.
did that go?
The individual lost,
Okay.
but then the margin was really, really small. It wasn't as huge as it had been in the previous elections.
Okay.
So we made sure that it wasn't a runaway at K2 South. We knew that our candidate was not going to win. We just wanted to lower the gap,
Okay.
That's
All
all.
right, very good. And by the way, I want to programming notes. This is Diaspora Network Television. We cater to the entire Ghanaian and indeed African diaspora. So if you see an MPP man sitting here, it doesn't mean that we're exclusive with the party affiliation for folks who come here. And for the record, we have actually extended an invitation to Dr. Ahen many times, who is, I understand, to be the NDC's diaspora director. We've extended that invitation to him. I'm sure he will give us a call anytime soon. So I wanted to make that clear, that if you see an MPP man sitting here, that does not mean that this place, only MPP people walk in there. NDC folks can walk in as long as it's diaspora related, because that's what we stand for. Okay, back to our conversation. So you came and you saw the inauguration.
Yes.
What was it like? How did you feel?
It was good. It was good because Nana Akufo-Addo had tried twice and failed. So the third time when he won, it was really an accomplishment.
Okay.
So it was a time of excitement. So I
Okay.
just wanted to be a part of the inauguration.
Very good.
So
And since you've been back, what has it been like? What have you seen? Is it encouraging? Is it everything you expected?
there's no human perfection,
Okay.
Jermaine. The government is trying. I believe that we came, the MPP came and met a very, very bad state of financial affairs. So most of the time was spent trying to make ends meet.
Okay.
So we have made gains. We haven't achieved everything, but I think that we have done a better job than the previous administration.
Okay. So we'll go into policy in the next segment, but one thing that I want to see you touch on, I'll take you back to your first day in New York when the lady said, "You're welcome." And you thought that, how did you know? When you got to New York, how much money did you have in your pocket?
$600.
Oh,
I had some money.
That's a dadaba.
Oh, you remember that after the COMSO, when you pass and you go for your interview at the scholarship secretariat, you are entitled to $400 if your parents can afford it.
Okay.
And my father, knowing that I was going to a foreign land,
Okay.
he made sure that I gave the money because the scholarship secretariat approved it through the Bank of Ghana.
Okay,
So I was
so
able to get the
get-
$400.
Good. And then your father added.
And then my father added $200 to it.
Okay. The reason why I'm going back to that story, When you got on the plane to go to United States for the first time, you had no idea what to expect.
No, I didn't.
But you took that chance.
Yeah, and, as a man, you have to take a chance. If you don't take a chance, you never realize your dreams.
See, Diaspora Network Television is pitching this parallel. Okay, we in the diaspora, we want situations to be perfect. We want, I know what I'm coming to do. Everything must be in place before I come. But when you look at how we went, we did not know what to expect.
That is true.
I landed in the United States with $20 in my pocket and I didn't know where I was going to spend that night. All right?
Yeah.
But I took that chance. So why is it that we are able to take that chance going out when we had nothing to our name? We were young, we didn't have any sense. And I'm speaking paradoxically. We were not as matured. But we took that leap of faith and we didn't die. But now that we're more matured, we're more experienced, we have more money, we're coming back to a country that we know because we were born and bred here. And we think it's too risky. Explain that to me.
For me personally, I didn't think it was risky. I think that leaving the shores of Ghana to go to the United States was an investment.
Okay.
Because I always thought that I wanted to go acquire some experience and knowledge to come back and help the country.
Yeah.
It's just that the timing makes a difference.
Yeah.
So
I know. I mean, the situations are different, but I'm saying that how easily we are when it comes to taking a chance to go to a new land where most of us when we went there, it's like, yeah, you know somebody, but where you're going to sleep, what you're going to eat, you probably don't. It's just new. But we so willingly take that chance. But when it comes time to, I've made money, I'm more matured, I have my kids, blah, blah, blah. Now I want to come back home. There's that fear. And I'm trying to figure out, I thought maybe you would have an answer to why that fear is. Because it shouldn't be so scary to come back to where you were born, where you're more familiar, and you have more money to withstand any type of risk. So why do you think people don't take that chance enough? Because we need more people to come.
a lot of people have become so confident, so comfortable
Where they are.
where they are. I know of friends who have built houses here, but they say they don't want to live here. They'll only come here for a visit and stay there. Some of them don't want to deal with the frustrations, the red tapes, the bureaucracy of doing things. Jermaine, you know, there's so much indiscipline in this country.
I know.
So much indiscipline.
But guess who's going to fix it?
We can all try. We can all try. Sometimes you get insulted and people will tell you because you think you've lived outside the country, you think you are better than somebody. I remember a story I think it was in the early 90s. Actually, I think I had boarded KLM to come to Ghana. And you know, when you leave the United States to come here, you are given a chance to travel with 2 luggages of 70 pounds. That's how much it was at that time.
Okay.
And then when I came and I was going back, at Kotoka Airport, they told me I was only entitled to 1 luggage.
Wow.
Oh, hell broke loose. Hell broke loose. I was screaming. And the people behind me, if you are not ready, just get off the line so we can go. You are wasting time and all that. I fought and I told them that the laws of the United States when you fly in from the States, it's not different from when you fly back to the United States. It's 2 luggages.
Yeah.
You are taking my 2 luggages in, whether you like it or not. And they told me to step off the line. I told them I'm not stepping off the line. You call the supervisor so I can ask him or her why it is so. So they brought a lady, I don't remember her name, fair-colored lady. I came, I talked, and she said, let him go. So they were doing that to charge extra money for their own pockets.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you wherever in that where the name Pancho came from. That's what. And you know, on this show, I don't tell my story, but you know, you and I, the reason why we get along is there's a lot that we share in common. This story that you've told, how much time do I have? I was going to, it's a long story, I'll pass on that. We'll come back to policy.
Every weekday at 12 and 5 p.m., DNT Newsroom brings you the most topical, fact-based, and up-to-date news from Ghana and around the world.
Politics, business, sports, and news from the diaspora, all covered in this comprehensive news update.
If it matters, DNT Newsroom will have it covered.
DNT News, be informed.
Welcome. You're watching Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah, and I'm joined by Mr. Kwabena Manu, aka Pancho. Like I can't get over your name, man. That Pancho just does things to me. So now we are in Ghana, and you're saying frustration everywhere. But let's talk about this government. What's going on? The first thing I want to touch on is the referendum. What did you think? The president just recently pulled it off the table. How did that happen? How did we get to that point?
I don't know why the president did it. He's given us reasons for him doing it. I personally think that it was not advertised well. There was not much talked about it. And you know what? If I was the president and I know that we haven't educated the masses well and good enough for a yes vote to win, I would have done the same thing.
But you had 18 more days to educate. You can educate a lot of people in 18 days.
Jermaine, when union government came, you were in Ghana, you were in high school, or you might have graduated from high school. It took a long time for us to sell for the People's Movement for Freedom and Justice. You know, Nana Akufo-Addo was the secretary to that organization with a free fire in them. The no vote was
so powerful,
very powerful. It was sold to almost all and sundry.
Okay.
So that's why the no's won.
Okay.
You have to really prepare the electorate to understand why you say someone should vote yes or someone should vote no.
Okay.
And if all the parties had agreed that this is something that we want, and you find one party going back on their word, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would have done the same thing.
You would have done the same thing.
Yes.
What about the general direction of the country? I mean, what do you think? People tell us the foundation is good, but people are not feeling it. What's going on with that?
Everywhere I go, I take Uber and Taxify, which is Bolt now.
Okay.
I take it a lot. And these drivers keep on telling me that the system is not good. The monetary, the economic system is not good. They're not seeing the flow of money. So I try to explain to them that it's not so easy within 3 years to just, perform a miracle. If the MPP is given the mandate in 2020 and we win, Ghana is really going to change. People can choose to believe it. I'm not saying this because I'm MPP. I'm living it. I see it. That
What
it's
do
going
you see that they don't see?
Lumba's song of Abenwaha and Amachi Dede's song of Debi Debi Ebeye. You see these two songs competing. People want things right and then right away. Others have patience to wait to make sure that things really, really go well and they will reap what they sow. But most people don't have the patience to wait. I tell people, listen, if you have money, $20,000 sitting around somewhere, you don't need to go outside the country.
And that's about how much they spend to go.
Yes, the
Meanwhile,
connection.
When you lived in New York, did you ever see $20,000 cash like instant? Right?
No, within a year you can save it. It's all through investment.
Yes,
it's all through investments.
Yes. And so, When they say things are rough, my question to you is, when was the last time you met a Ghanaian and you asked them, oh, how are things going generally? And they told you, oh, as for now, oh, everything is fine. Have you ever, has that ever happened in your life?
No. No. The general answer is,
You see the idea?
oh, kakra kakra, edion, yeshishim. Right.
So because so the question is, why don't people admit to it even when things are good? I mean, you can go to someone who has millions in the bank. They'll still tell you, and they might have a title. Why? Is it us?
I think it is the Ghanaians mentality.
I think
it's something really that's in the Ghanaian's mind.
Yeah.
No one is going to tell you I'm a millionaire.
Yeah.
Or life is so easy.
Yeah.
Financially, I am well off. I mean, listen, you have people who have money, but they don't show it.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't. Some of them don't go bragging about it that they have money. They live humble lives.
Nigerian brothers are the opposite. They will show if they have money. Why is that?
You see, Jermaine, if I had opportunity to make money, I will help people, but I'm not going to show it and flaunt it. It's not my style. It's not in my makeup.
Right.
But I will help people. Listen, I don't go to church.
Okay.
So if I help someone, I think the Almighty God or the great man above is blessing me.
Again.
I don't go to these churches because I don't want to be a part of some of these churches.
Yeah.
If I decide to go to any of them, it will be the ones that I knew when I was growing up.
Okay. So maybe we're getting to something. The general Ghanaian attitude and tendency to say, oh, and am I a tough? It echoes. You know why? I met a young man when we asked him if I was me and Yao Sechi, general manager, we were talking to him, and he said, "Hey, said the name I tough pal," and then we got talking to him. Oh, what's tough? Then we got talking to him. In the end, we got him to admit that Nkrumah cannabis can be. Yes, he's heard people saying "ayede," and he's
It's all psychological.
It's all psychological. So what do you do to change that, without changing the typical Ghanaian cultural tendency to say "ayede"? Because Okase, if he says that, things are well, to a fellow Ghanaian, he might be bragging. Right? So the more we say, oh, things are tough. But in this government, we know that, and I don't want to preach, be the MPP spokesperson here, but if you look at all this stuff, there's been a lot of cash in the system. Right? Free SHS costs about $400 million to $600 million that people are not paying to the government. That's money in the system.
That is true.
So, all these allowances that we hear them paying contractors, what are people doing with the money that you can find in the system?
I think there's money in the system if you look at it. If you look at it that way. But you see, Ghanaians don't equate saving money or curtailing their expenses to having money. This free SHS thing, since they don't see the money in their pocket directly, some don't make any sense of it.
Okay.
But it's a lot that the government has done, so we should give them credit.
Talk about free SHS. People say we should have waited. What's your take?
Wait till when? That's my question. Wait till when? Some parents don't have the money to take their kids to school. Why should we have waited? Wait till when, Jermaine? I think that, you know what, doing it right away is the right thing to do. I mean, when we went to the United States, some of us that have children in the United States, you see them going to school for free. Only when you go to private schools, that's when you pay. But public schools, it's all free.
Okay.
Public schools are free for everyone.
Okay.
And you know what? If you have a leader who feels that no one should be left behind, he did the right thing.
Okay.
I don't care what anybody says.
Okay.
I believe that he did the right thing.
So, which of those policies that you see are bearing immediate results for people to see? Because this government seems like it's doing a lot, planting for food and jobs, this and this, free SHS. This, it's every day you wake up, there's a new policy coming. By now, 3 years later, people should have started seeing it. Why aren't they seeing it?
Personally, I feel that we are not selling ourselves good. The MPP, our communicators are not doing a good job. I'm not afraid to say it. That's my personal view. I'm not afraid to say it. They're not doing a good job at all. If they are all watching, I'll tell them, go do a better job, because you're doing a disservice to the president. You are not doing a good job.
Okay.
There are so many things that are happening, they can't sell it.
Yeah.
The other parties will talk negative about the party. You know it's not true, but they don't even rebut.
Yeah.
Sometimes they wait so long to rebut. They are not doing a good job. That's where I am so disappointed in our communication system.
Okay.
Our communicators.
So I'll give you the chance to communicate something. You're affiliated with the Railway Ministry.
Yes.
Okay. What's happening there?
You know what? They are doing a very good job. Joe Garte is a man who feels that the president has given him a job to do, and he wants to make sure that he accomplishes it. My personal opinion about the railway system, I think they've done so much, but I feel they're not communicating it well
Because
either.
I haven't seen anything.
They're not doing a good job with PR.
Has there been actual new lines laid?
They are laying them. They are laying them right now. The Tema to Accra one, which is the narrow gauge, it has started running.
Okay.
Then Sawam one, it started, and then something happened, and they are working on the tracks. But alongside it, they are working on the standard gauges, which is going to be the new lines.
Okay.
That's what's accepted internationally.
Right, because I know ours is a little narrow. What's the distance? What's the inches? Is there a difference in inches in terms of?
As far as the yardage and stuff, I don't know, but I know that it's the narrow gauge and the standard gauge. The standard gauge is the modern one. Okay,
so now are these vehicles? What do they call
coaches?
Them? Coaches.
Yes.
Are they retrofittable? Where if you take that, if you they're built for the narrow gauge, can you retrofit them to fit on the standard
no.
gauge? You can't.
No.
So what's going to happen to all those gauges?
Oh, they will. The coaches, those coaches for now, the old narrow gauges, they're doing these local runs. I'm sure that that's going to stay for a very long time. Okay. They're working as trotros for the people who live in Tema coming to Accra, and in Sawam coming to Accra.
So those are inner city,
yes,
intra-city.
Yes, but down the road you're going to have the Takoradi to Kumasi, Accra to Kumasi, and then down the road it's going to go through past the Volta to go to Burkina Faso.
Okay. Oh, so the one that's going way up north is going through the eastern corridor rather than the western corridor.
Yes, but at some point from Paga and also Kumasi it will link.
Okay.
Yes, there will be a line from Paga to Kumasi, and that will transcend on to Sunyani.
So how come the public doesn't know this?
I don't know. Maybe one day, since you have a TV station, maybe you need to invite. This is Diaspora though, but you can send some of your.
In fact, with Diaspora, we do local news, we do international news.
So invite the Honorable Joe Garte or one of his deputy ministers,
maybe I can get you to
Ajenim Boateng and Apia Kubi.
Okay.
They will come here and willfully talk about it so that people will understand it.
Okay. So besides. Now you're affiliated with the Railway Ministry, so you know. But what else is happening since you are NPP enthusiast? What's in the government that people should know that they don't know?
All I can say is that the government is doing a good job.
Okay.
People just have to be patient and just wait for things to just fall in place.
Okay.
One thing I want to end with, though, if I'm given the chance or we have some time, is I just don't like the way ROPA is being handled.
Good. How? What would you like to see?
Ghanaians abroad should be given the opportunity to vote.
Okay.
I mean, the NPP, the NDC, no matter what, who the power should be, they cannot afford Ghanaians living abroad the luxury of an anemic democracy. Ghanaians living abroad, you know how much money they pump into the system. It's more than what even cocoa brings to Ghana.
Cocoa and gold combined.
Well,
I have the numbers. It's
okay.
In 2018 was $4.7 billion if you combine formal and informal. Cocoa and gold to combine brought in 4.6 billion. And yet you're not Ghanaian enough because you've taken another citizenship.
That's baloney. It is nonsense. If I sit here and I can tell you what's going on in Ghana, I say me say at the saying, I'm not Ghanaian. Who wouldn't take another citizenship in another country when in 1992, from 1981 to now to 1992, things were not that good. So if you had an opportunity to be a citizen somewhere, why not? That doesn't bar you from being a Ghanaian.
You know, Kwaku Azar argued that a national, you never take, once your umbilical cord is cut here, you can't change that. Same way you picked up an American citizen, you can drop it and pick up a Chinese citizenship, drop it and pick up an Australian citizenship, but your Ghanaian nationality,
you cannot.
You can't change it.
Yes.
Same way, your mother. Can you ever change your mom?
No.
But you can change your wife.
That's right.
You can marry Sandra today, drop her, marry
Araba tomorrow.
Araba tomorrow. And for women, you can marry Kwabena, marry today, drop him, and then marry Jermaine. But your mother stays your mother forever.
Yes.
It's the same thing. So why do you get punished when you marry a woman?
I don't know.
It's almost like your mother say, okay, I'm disowning you because you married a woman.
Once a Ghanaian, always a Ghanaian. We should not even be looking at a Ghanaian born and bred in the country just because you left the shores of Ghana to further your education somewhere and you acquired a citizenship in that country. Doesn't make you any less of a Ghanaian than the person who has never left the shores of Ghana. It is absolute nonsense.
When you were in New York when the Black Stars was playing the U.S. team in the World Cup,
yes.
Which team did you support?
Ghana, of course.
But you say you're American citizen. You're an American.
I'm an American citizen. Does that mean that I'm not Ghanaian?
Right.
Like you said, my umbilical cord was cut here. Right here.
Okay. So, Ropa, what would you like to see? Because Dr. Bosman Asare, he came and sat in this same seat, talked to him. He told me one thing, and I quote, if Ropa doesn't happen, it would not be because of the EC. Those were his exact words. So he said the EC is going to do its part to make sure they present. Then it's up to the party. Do you think the MPP wants Ropa to happen?
Present what to the party? I didn't understand your question.
The constitutional instrument to Parliament.
But the 1992 Constitution has...
It's been amended.
Yes.
It's been amended, and right now it is the law of the land. You know it. We came here in
2018. It was passed. Justice.
No, 2006.
No, Ropa. But I'm saying recently we went to court in 2018,
right.
And Justice Yeboah, may his soul rest in peace, and Tony Yeboah, he passed and he ruled in his
that it should run.
Yes, it should. And for so long, we have never voted. 2020. Ghanaians living abroad need to vote. It has to be a pilot program. It's been done in other countries. So nobody should come out here and give us any excuse.
Do you think the NPP wants Ropa to?
You want me to be fair? You know I don't mince words.
Right.
There are some elements in the NPP who don't want it.
Okay.
I'm not going to mention names. But there are some MPs and stuff, they think that once given the chance, they feel threatened. They feel very threatened. But this is just going to be in the presidential elections. So an MP shouldn't feel threatened. You know?
Or maybe they can give us parliamentary seats so that we'll fight for parliamentary
down the road, it's going to happen.
Alone.
I mean, the diaspora is going to be a constituency.
Okay.
Yes, down the road, it's going to happen for sure.
Okay, very good. Now, you're here Are you in the private sector or you're in the public sector right now?
I'll say right now I'm in the public sector.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because we had a study that said you're probably part of the 4.4% of diasporans coming in, because we did a poll, Diaspora Network Television, we did a poll where 4.4% of those coming back say they want government jobs. Another 4.4% say they want private jobs. But 46% said they'll come and open their own business. If you have 8%, an estimated 8% of the population living abroad, out of that 8%, 80% want to come home at some point or another. You do the maths. And of that who want to come home, 46% want to open their own business. Can you imagine what it would do to this economy and the unemployment situation? So is it a case of diasporans not wanting to come, or is it a case of Ghana not doing enough to attract them?
I think Ghana is not doing enough to attract them. If they want to attract diasporans, they should allow them to vote.
Okay.
They should allow them to vote.
Okay.
Are you telling me that down the road, if you have one of these ministers, an MP from NDC or NPP, gives birth, a wife goes to give birth in the United States, the UK, Germany,
Yes,
you
sir.
name it.
Yeah.
And then they're told that your child, since the child was born in the United States, he or she is not a Ghanaian. That's an insult. It's a slap in the face,
Right.
Jermaine.
Right. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I think that Ghana has come a long way. Democracy is working, so we should give it a chance to work. The recent case of somebody trying to stage a coup and stuff, I think it was just a hogwash. The NPP is doing a great job under President Nana Akufo-Addo.
Okay.
So I think that he should be given a chance to serve the nation, and then we will see how Ghana is going to really, really fare economically. I believe that it is going to be very, very good before 2024.
Okay. Very good. Heard from Pancho. This is an invitation to members of the other party to, as long as you're a diasporan, you're welcome to Diaspora Network Television. This is, since we started doing Diaspora Weekly, this is the first time that we've actually had an openly affiliated. Now we've had state, government officials here who are obviously NPP, but this is the first time we've had an actual guest who identifies as NPP, and I want to let you know that you are also invited. As long as you're a diaspora, a member of the diaspora, you're welcome to Diaspora Network Television. And so I want to take the opportunity to thank you for watching Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah, and we were joined by Mr. Kwabena Manu, formerly in New York, now back to stay, aka Pancho. Pancho, thank you.
Thanks for having me, Jermaine.
Welcome.